Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel and welcome again to another painting tutorial. Today is a holiday here in the Philippines, so I have all the time to do whatever it is that I want. And that is the most exciting part, freedom. So today I'll be painting another landscape, and I just enjoy painting landscape. I think they are peaceful to look at. They are very relaxing to do as well. So I'll be linking again in the description box below the reference image for this painting tutorial. And the colors that I'll be using for today's tutorial are very common to most of you, I hope so. And most of them are really earth colors because you know how much I love painting the colors of nature. So we have here lots of titanium white because I love titanium white so much. And we have here burnt sienna, phthalo blue, sap green, black, and mid yellow. You can also use your cadmium yellow if you have that. So let's begin sketching now. I will be sketching it just to show you how the painting is gonna look like, but I'll be painting over the sketch because I'll be doing some background colors. But just to give you an idea of how the painting is gonna look like, so I'm gonna use my phthalo blue in sketching it. Since we'll be doing a lot of waters and sky today, I might as well use the blue color. So this will be the horizon, okay? Like this. And then we will be doing some curves and indentations. Like that. Okay, also here. Like that. So the horizon is gonna look like this. It's not straight. So this will be the body of water and this will be the land and the sky. So for the sky, we're going to separate the mountains and the sky from each other. So I'm gonna draw first where the mountains are gonna be located. And okay. This will be the mountains. All right, like that. Okay, so you already have an idea of what it's going to look like. So I think now that we've identified where things are gonna go, I should start doing the underpainting for every part of the landscape. So I'm gonna start first with the waters. So I'm gonna use a larger brush for this one. I'm just gonna use my phthalo blue, mix that with a bit of black. Okay, to kind of darken the colors, I'm gonna add tiny bit of sap green. And I'm just gonna underpaint first the water, all right? This is not the final color, but we want to make sure that the water is quite dark for the initial stage. I mean, generally underpainting colors are darker than the highlights, of course. So we're going to use the darker version of the transparent or translucent waters. So as you can see here, the way I'm moving my brush is quite horizontal. I avoid doing vertical brush strokes because I want to follow the behavior of the waters. I'm adding some hints of greeny colors. Just make sure that the underpainting is quite dark. Okay. I'm gonna allow this first to dry. Let's move on to the sky. I want to do multiple layers, but because my canvas is still peeking through the paints. All right, that's pretty dark. Now I'm gonna underpaint. I think we should just, yeah, I think I'm gonna do the sky next. I'm gonna do the sky since we still have the blue colors on the palette. So for the sky, I'm going to make lighter blue. So I'm gonna dab onto my blue and then white. All right. Okay. Maybe a little more blue. It's too light blue. Okay, the yellows are mixing, but it's okay. It's turning into a little bit of greeny color, so try to remove that by adding more blue. All right, maybe this is enough. I don't know, I'm gonna add more blue if necessary. Yeah, I think this is good. So I'm just gonna underpaint the sky first. Okay, I think that's, yeah, this is a good underpainting. Now I'm gonna get pure phthalo blue. I'm gonna blend a bit. Okay, trying to create darker blues in the sky. Take advantage of the paint still being wet to blend, okay? Like that. All right, like that. And then I'm gonna wash my brush out and I'm going to get my white. Actually, it's not purely cleansed, but the blue color, most of the colors, the blue colors are gone already. I'm gonna use this white As you can see here, the brush strokes are kind of diagonal, right? Because we're trying to make some movement. Like that. Also here. I classify this tutorial as easy, under easy category, because it's just so easy, but we're going to do our best to make it, to really achieve that look that I want, and that is to be realistic as possible. If you're not going for a realistic painting, you're not forced to do what I'm doing, or what I'm gonna do, or what I plan to do. So I'm just gonna do my best, all right? And then you do what you want for your own painting. Okay, I'm gonna allow that first to dry before I do more clouds. Now let's underpaint the mountains. This is my most favorite. I think it's good to save it for last, because I really love painting mountains. So for the mountains, I'm gonna get my black, burnt sienna, just mix them together. Maybe I'm gonna add tiny bit of green, just to already add that nature color, that plants and trees going on the rocks or on the mountains. And I'm just gonna underpaint first. As you can see here, I'm doing some vertical brush strokes. That is to follow the patterns on the rocks. For the brush strokes of the mountains, you don't have to be super soft. You can do hard brush strokes, hard lines, because again, we're doing a mountain which has some rocks and I don't know, everything that you can find that is not super soft and smooth. So it's good to be more free when it comes to painting the rocks or the mountains. Okay, I'm gonna get my pure brown. I'm gonna mix that with white. And then, okay, tiny bit of black perhaps. I'm gonna lighten the middle section. Like this. I need to darken this area. Okay, like that. Right, I'm going to get, so it's making sense already, right? Quite quick. Because we're still in the underpainting stage, I'm gonna get my brown and then white. I'm gonna add tiny bit of yellow, okay? And underpaint this side. As you can see, I'm very rough when it comes to landscape. That's the joy in painting landscape for me than painting, let's say, still life I'm more careful when I'm doing still life paintings. But when it comes to landscape, I feel more free, especially during the underpainting stage. It's just so freeing. And I just know that I will end up doing something that I want for my painting. Alright. Okay, so basically we've underpainted the whole canvas. So now let's move on to detailing, which is my favorite part, of course, because you know how much I love bringing life to my paintings. I'm gonna use a smaller brush for this stage, and I'm just gonna go for the mountains still. I'm gonna get my light browny color, add tiny bit of yellow. Maybe this color, maybe add more white. Alright, maybe this color, and I'm gonna start creating some highlights. So the technique that I'm using here is almost dry brushing, meaning I'm not allowing the water to mix the colors. I'm allowing the colors to show or peek through each layer, if that makes sense. We'll be using our palette knife later to create more texture, but for now, let's allow the brush to do its job for us. All right, like this. I'm gonna get more white. I'm gonna dab onto my green and yellow to create some yellow greeny colors. I'm just adding some greens. To be honest, guys, I don't want to explain everything in words because you can actually see what I'm doing. You can tell that I'm using some dark greens here and some light greens to add that greenery in the mountains, on the rocks. So I'm gonna make this side quite dark because this is not being hit by the light. It's not really receiving enough light. So we're going to create some dimension. Alright, for this side, I'm going to make some greenery. So just get your green color. Your sap, I'm using sap green. Actually, that's too yellow. I'm gonna add more. So I'm just using the tip of my brush. We're still in the underpainting process, guys. This is like underpainting part 2. If painting is a movie, then this would be the part 2. So being random when it comes to doing the greeneries helps in achieving that natural look that you want for your painting, if that's the look that you want for your painting. Gonna get some yellowy colors. Right, it's making sense already. But when we do our palette knives, or when we use our palette knife later, it will make more sense. We will go into more detailed version of this. So now you already have an idea of how it's going to look like, okay? I still want to do the mountains because I'm just addicted to it. I think this is the best time for me to use my palette knife. As you can see here, guys, or as you can sense already, I really don't have any pattern or a step-by-step guide, because I look at the image and then I do as I go on. You know, I do the steps as I go on. I really don't have a manual on which I fix myself to following. I just do as I think needs to be done. So I'm gonna use now my palette knife to create more details on the mountains, because I really want to give more life to the mountains before I do the waters. I just love painting a texture. So I'm gonna dab onto my light brown color that we already have here. Maybe I'm gonna add a tiny bit of white and yellow. Okay, I'm gonna use the back of my palette knife to create that texture that I want for this mountain. So I'm just gonna go vertical in application. Okay. Some areas will be horizontal. It depends on the shape of the rocks or the mountain. Also here. And I'm gonna use the same thing over here. Okay, maybe here a bit. Let's dab onto our brown, just pure brown. Like that, really creating texture. Now I'm gonna dab onto my yellows and greens. Let's create more texture here. Okay, now I'm going to create some gray. So get your black and white, tiny bit of brown, maybe more white. Just create the gray color. Let's create some gray detailing on the mountains. Oops. Okay, I've committed some mistakes here. Okay. So I just remove the paint using water. just add some greeneries. All right. Okay, now before I do more detailing on the mountain, I want to allow the paint to dry first, and then let's move on to the waters, because the underpainting of the mountain looks good for me. Okay. So for the waters, let's go back to getting our blue and then white. Oh, sorry. Blue and white like this. Maybe add tiny bit of black just to mute the color. Again, more blue. Maybe this color, and try to create, yeah, this is the color that I want. This. Okay, now I'm going to add some green to the blue. So it's a combination of blue and then sap green and then yellow, but then more blue. And then white. I'm going to try using this color to lighten a bit this part. Okay, now I'm going to get my black. All right, yes, pure black. And I'm going to create more depth and shadows. Try to stay horizontal. Right, like that. Then some dark blues right here. All right. We're not yet done, guys. It's just underpainting part 2 for the waters. So I really don't know what time we're going to finish, but I really don't mind because it's a holiday for me, so I don't need to rush this. Besides, as I told you guys, this subject is quite easy, so we should focus more on, sorry, that's dried acrylics. So we should focus more on achieving what we want than just, doing a painting just for the sake of doing it. I really want to feel good after painting this painting. So I'm gonna do some clouds now. I'm gonna underpaint first the clouds. I'm gonna get my gray. So I'm gonna get my white and tiny bit of black to get some gray color. Remember, dry brushing, we're going to remove the excess waters from the brush. So I'm just gonna remove it by tapping it on a towel, and then let's go and create some clouds. Now I'm gonna add more white to the paint. And use my fingers to blend, okay? Let me check. Oh, nice. Okay. I'm gonna wash my brush out, and I'm gonna get my pure blue. Try to darken this area. All right, now before we go back to the clouds, I will do more detailing on the mountains. So I'm gonna get my black. Let's try to outline the mountain using black. Just try to outline it. By outlining it, you separate the mountains from the sky, and you also separate them from each other, because this is a mountainous area. So every mountain is one mountain, so we should see the separation. I hope I'm making sense with what I'm saying, guys. So I'm using some watered down black to kind of darken this portion, because what is being hit by the light is the middle part. It should really be light. Later we're going to highlight it. So I'm using black to create some shadows and depth. And we're going to separate the water from the land. So I'm gonna use my black to outline the edge of the water, or the water line. Is that the water line? I mean, that area where the water and the land meet. Yeah, I'm gonna do some little bit of dry brushing down here. All right, now I'm gonna use my palette knife. I'm gonna try it out. I don't know yet what it's going to look like if I use a palette knife, but I'm just gonna dab onto my black. I'm gonna add blue. I'm not sure, guys, but I'm just gonna use it to create some water movements, like that. All right, okay. All right, now I'm gonna get my white. All right, so I'm gonna get my white and try to stay horizontal as much as possible. Okay, I'm adding some light blue to my white. As I go here, I'm using some light blue colors, almost turquoise color. Okay, now I'm adding some yellow to the turquoisey color. Like that. And using the same color, we're going to do a little bit of reflection, not too much. Right here. And then I'm gonna go a little bit vertical. Not too much again. And then same manner right here. All right, let me check that. Okay, now I'm gonna glaze over the waters using some gray color. I think this should be gray. So I'm gonna get my white and then my black. I didn't expect that this is just a lot of detailing, even if it's just a simple subject. So I'm gonna water it down and I'm gonna go from here, right? Just glaze. That, and using pure white. Okay, we're going to do some highlights. All right, I'm gonna get my black. I'm gonna darken some areas. All right, and then using my small brush, I'm going to glaze over the waters later to make it more like shiny and smooth. I'm gonna get my small brush. I'm gonna dab onto my white and tiny bit of brown and tiny bit of yellow, but more white. We're going to add more yellow, and we're going to use this color to highlight the middle section of the painting to suggest the light source. Okay, I'm gonna get my white. Let's create some white. And some yellowy colors. Okay. And then some dark greens. Okay. It's not dark greens. Okay, I'm gonna use my black to create some rough edges along this area. Some gray colors. I'm gonna get my browns. So we should always make sure that no area is super green or super brown, because that's what nature actually looks like, right? That's how nature looks like. It's imperfect, and that what makes nature super beautiful, the imperfections. There's no symmetry in nature. I don't know if you've seen one, but I haven't seen it. So I just added some brownie colors over certain areas in the mountains. Then I'm gonna get my black. Right, like that. All right. Okay, let's go back to the waters, because I feel like the waters need more detailing. Okay, I'm just adding a little bit more browny colors. Just a little bit of that color in the water so that it will reflect, or it suggests some reflections in the waters. I'm gonna get a smaller brush. I really didn't know, I didn't expect that we will get really detailed here. Let's try to outline it. Right. Okay. I'm gonna glaze it again. The water part. Okay. I'm gonna get my white. I'm gonna mix it with tiny bit of blue. Just like this. I'm gonna add a lot of water. And I'm gonna glaze the water portion so that it becomes more like a solid part of the painting. It's one and connected piece. Like that. Make the blending quite smooth by using your fingers. Well, I'm using mine. If you're not a fan of using yours, it's alright. I'm adding some yellow greeny colors right here. You see that? Did you see that? Okay. Try to blend without covering the entire surface, because what we did earlier will make no sense anymore if you just simply cover it. Okay, I'm gonna get my black again. Okay. So control. All right, like that. Okay, still I'm gonna use my white because I don't know how many hours. We're almost an hour doing this one. But I don't care. I don't care, guys. I'm gonna use some white to highlight the mountains. And like that. All right, like that. And then, okay, I think I need to, what else do we need to do here? I think I need to add, I think I need to use my palette knife for the white. So I'm gonna dab onto my white, use the back of the palette knife, and I don't care if some colors are mixing because we're trying to be more natural here. We don't want pure white, we just want dominant white. I'm gonna try, guys. If it doesn't work, I'm just gonna paint over it. Like that. Just add some glittery effect. Do not press too hard because that will ruin everything. Anyway, if you make a mistake, just paint over it. If you don't like the result, if you kind of like the result, then keep up with it. I'm gonna wet even my palette knife. Okay, like that. Alright, like that. Okay. I'm gonna dab onto my green. Let's go back to doing the mountains. You know, the more we create a texture here, the more it's gonna look more 3D and realistic. As I told you, I will not rush this painting. Alright, like that. Okay. Maybe I'm gonna add more details right here. Okay, like that. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna get my white again. Keep coming back. All right, now I think I'm just gonna go back to doing the clouds. I'm gonna add some darker colors. Check. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. And I'm gonna use a little bit more water. Adding some black. Right. Adding some reflections. So, and then we're going to add some brownie colors to add the reflection of the mountains. This is very minimal, but we have to suggest that it's there because you cannot miss it. All right, let me check. Wow. Okay, I need more white. Sorry guys, but I really have to finish the painting. Finish it the way I want to finish it. White. Let me check. Okay, so we're really adding a lot of details here and I kind of like it. Okay, for the last step, okay, I'm just gonna get a huge brush for this step. I'm just gonna dab it onto the water. I'm gonna wash it. I'm gonna wet my brush and, okay, I'm gonna water down the blue color that I have here, and let's go if it's going to work for us. If it doesn't, let's paint over it. So I'm gonna go a little bit diagonal just to fill in those spaces that we cannot really fill in. All right. Then I'm gonna use my rag to to swipe it quite smoothly. Like that. Okay. All right. And then I'm gonna get my white just to give it some final touches. I'm gonna mix my green with black. And some grays. All right. Yeah, okay. So you know the effect of layering actually makes us achieve what we want to achieve. Some more highlights. Okay, some light blue greens here. And some dark blues right here. Right. Some whites right here. Like that. I'm gonna add more details in the clouds. Okay, wow guys. I think this is done. What do you think? Right? So I think I have to sign this now because it's good. So for the signature, I'm just gonna sign right here. Think. I'm gonna use my white and sign it right here. Right. Wow. So I think this is good, guys. This is a good landscape painting. So I hope you enjoy this one and I hope you do this one as well. I'll be linking in the description box below some other landscape and other painting that I want to, or I want you to see, or I want you to watch, or for you to paint along with me. So I hope you enjoy this one. See you in my next video, guys. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.